Christmas is supposed to smell like cinnamon, not shame. But that night, it smelled like both. I was walking past the living room to grab water when I heard my name, followed by my mother's favorite phrase, "Just don't tell her yet." I froze. Behind the door, my parents and siblings were calmly planning a little Christmas surprise that wasn't a gift, it was a public ambush. Every insecurity, every failure turned into a joke. And that's when I realized I was the entertainment. If you're interested in this gist, hit the like button, subscribe, and type interested in the comments, and I will give you a heart. Christmas doesn't start with decorations, music, or snow. It starts with an expectation. This invisible pressure to smile, perform, and pretend your family is something it isn't. And if you grew up in a family like mine, you know exactly what I mean. You rehearse your answers in the car before walking in. You prepare for the subtle jabs disguised as just jokes. You brace yourself because every holiday feels like an exam you didn't study for, but somehow still have to pass. That's why what happened that night hit harder than anything they ever said to my face, because it wasn't just rudeness or criticism. It was premeditated humiliation. And it was meant to happen in front of relatives, neighbors, and the entire extended family Christmas gathering. Now, before I take you back to the moment I overheard their plan, you have to understand something important. My family doesn't fight with fists or yelling. They fight with embarrassment. They use words like needles, quiet, thin, and sharp enough to puncture your confidence before you even realize you're bleeding. Growing up, my siblings were the stars, straight A students, perfect report cards, perfect resumes, perfect hair, perfect lives, perfect Instagram feeds. And me? I was the one who made interesting choices. I switched majors twice. I tried different jobs. My love life was a disaster. My career path looked more like a maze than a ladder. I wasn't a failure. I was just figuring things out at my own pace. But in my family, pacing wasn't allowed. If you weren't successful by 25, you were behind. If you didn't own a house by 30, you were irresponsible. If you weren't married by 28, you were difficult. So yeah, I grew up knowing exactly how they saw me, but I didn't know it was this bad. That night, I had come home early for Christmas Eve. The house smelt like roasting ham, cinnamon candles, and fake warmth. The kind you buy at a store, not the kind you build with love. My siblings were laughing in the living room. My parents were whispering. It all sounded normal. I went to the kitchen to grab a glass of water, but halfway there, I heard my name, and something in my gut told me to stop. It wasn't the tone, it was the timing. People don't whisper compliments. They whisper secrets. So I froze. I pressed my back against the wall. And then I heard my mother say, "Well, I think it's perfect. We'll do it after the Christmas toast." My sister chimed in, her voice dripping with amusement. "She'll probably cry, but honestly, that might make it even funnier." My father chuckled. "It'll teach her responsibility." Responsibility? Funny? Cry? My heart pounded. My breath got stuck somewhere between my chest and my throat. I wasn't supposed to hear this, but I did. My brother added, "We'll ask her in front of everyone. That way she can't refuse." Ask me what? What could they possibly need to ask that required an audience? My mum sighed, the way she does when she believes she's doing something noble. It's not unreasonable. She's living paycheck to paycheck. She's always behind on something. If we don't nudge her, she'll never grow up. My sister laughed. More like shove her off the cliff. A wave of heat flushed up my neck. Shame, anger, confusion, but mostly disappointment. Because hearing your family mock you behind closed doors is one thing. Hearing them plan an entire performance to humiliate you, that's another level of betrayal. My father continued, "The moment everyone's glasses are raised, I'll stand up and say, 'We have a little request for our daughter.' And that's when we give her the binder." Binder? My mind raced. My mother added, "It has all her expenses, her spending habits, her late bills. It'll show everyone what's going on. She needs accountability. Accountability. They were going to expose my financial struggles. At Christmas, in front of everyone, my siblings giggled like it was entertainment. My sister said, maybe it'll motivate her to finally get her life together. My brother added, or at least grow some discipline. I pressed a hand over my mouth to stop the sound that almost escaped. Somewhere between a gasp and a sob. They weren't trying to help me. They weren't trying to talk to me. They were preparing to shame me. Publicly, strategically, cruelly. And they were excited about it. My father clapped his hands. Tomorrow night, right after dessert. She won't see it coming. My mother laughed softly. Oh, she never does. Something in me broke. Not dramatically, not loudly. Quietly, like a thin string snaps inside me. I didn't move, I didn't breathe. I wondered. I just stood there, invisible, listening to the people who claim to love me tear me apart with the ease of breathing. And here's the thing, I know I'm not the only one who's lived this. Some of you listening have families who critique your weight before saying hello. Families who call your achievements luck. Families who treat your mistakes like entertainment. Families who expect you not to react because reacting makes it worse. Families who love the version of you that performs but never the one that feels. And maybe that's why I didn't walk away that second. Maybe some part of me needed to hear every single word to finally understand the truth. They weren't planning a Christmas celebration. They were planning a Christmas execution. And the worst part, they believed they were right. But even betrayal has a gift buried inside it, because that night, while they laughed about how weak I'd look, something inside me woke up. The part that had been quiet for years. The part that refused to let them script my humiliation. The part that wasn't going to let them enjoy this show. That night, they planned my downfall. They had no idea I was about to flip the script. I didn't sleep that night, not because of fear, but because of clarity. The kind that hits you like ice water when you finally stop pretending your family is something it isn't. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, replaying every sentence they said. Every chuckle, every jab, every casual mention of my tears like they were part of the entertainment value. I felt something new in my chest. Not sadness, not shock, but something sharp, something cleaner. Something that felt like the early stages of backbone. You ever reach a point where you stop trying to win your family's approval and start wondering why you ever needed it? That's where I was. I kept thinking, who are these people? And how did I ever trust them with the fragile parts of me? Morning came. The house smelled like coffee, cinnamon rolls, and fake harmony. My family acted normal. Too normal. That's how you know someone's guilty. They talk louder, laugh harder, move faster, hoping noise will drown out their intentions. My mother greeted me with a smile so sweet it could rot teeth. Good morning, sweetheart. Did you sleep okay? Absolutely not. Fine, I said. She placed a plate in front of me like she was hosting a cooking show. Eat up, big day tonight. You excited? I forced a smile. So excited. If she noticed the sarcasm dripping from my tone, she ignored it. Classic. When people convince themselves they're doing the right thing, they go temporarily deaf to anything that contradicts them. My sister walked in wearing her holiday perfection uniform. Curls done, makeup glowing, sweater matching the decor like it was intentional. Hey, she said, stretching the word like taffy. Sleep well? Fantastic, I replied. Dreamt of Christmas miracles, she snorted. Yeah, well, you're gonna need one. She meant it as a joke, I took it as a warning. My brother sat across from me, scrolling on his phone. He didn't look up when he said, make sure you're ready tonight, Mum wants to keep things orderly. Orderly? Meaning, I was expected to sit still, smile politely, and get blindsided on cue. But here's the thing, they thought I'd walk into their trap blind. They didn't know I'd heard every detail. They didn't know I'd already started planning my countermove. They didn't know the meek daughter they expected to embarrass had evaporated overnight. After breakfast, I went for a walk around the neighborhood, the kind where you pretend to enjoy the cold air, but you're really trying not to scream. I needed space to think. The snow crunched under my boots. Houses were decorated with lights and inflatable snowmen, and families inside laughing together like a Hallmark movie. Meanwhile, my family was gearing up to roast me in front of 40 guests like I was the holiday turkey. And people wonder why some of us struggle with the concept of home. I kept replaying what I heard. The binder, the jokes, the plan to corner me. But the worst part was the ease, the casualness, the confidence that I would just sit there and take it. The way I had taken every offhand comment, every comparison, every "why can't you be more like your siblings" since childhood. That realization stung more than anything they actually said. It meant they didn't respect me. It meant they didn't fear consequences. It meant they didn't know me at all. And maybe that was my fault. Maybe I had been too quiet, too forgiving, too eager to keep peace that wasn't even real. Maybe I had let them treat me like the family punchline for too long. But that version of me was gone. You can't shame someone who's finally seen the truth. When I got back home, preparations were already in full swing. My father was setting up chairs in the living room, lining them perfectly like he was preparing a stage. My siblings were arguing about which angle gave the best view of the surprise. Every detail was arranged, every moment rehearsed. I watched them move, talk, decorate like actors in a play, unaware that a new plot twist was coming. My mother pulled me aside while hanging ornaments. "Honey," she said quietly, "don't take anything too personally tonight. Okay? Translation, we're about to humiliate you, but don't make us look bad by reacting." I nodded. "Sure." She kissed my forehead. "Good girl. Good girl." Funny how parents use praise as a leash. Behind her, my sister whispered to my brother, "I can't wait to see her face." I kept hanging ornaments, calm, controlled, silent. Because what they didn't realize was that silence wasn't surrender, it was strategy. I wasn't planning to ruin their night, I was planning to ruin their plan. And here's the thing, when someone underestimates you, they hand you the biggest weapon: surprise. So I spent the day watching them, learning their timing, studying their movements like I was preparing for a heist. Who would be standing where? Who would speak first? Where the binder would be? When the toast would happen? Everything. By 4 p.m., guests began arriving. Uncles, cousins, grandparents, neighbors. The house filled with laughter, music, and that trademark holiday energy. My mother moved around greeting people like she was running for office. My father boasted about the big moment coming later. My sister flirted with her reflection every chance she got. My brother practiced his part of the intervention. Zimboan is good. But they were ready, so was I. The binder sat on the coffee table, red, thick, ominous, their weapon. But what they didn't know was that I had brought my own. Something small, something simple, something that would flip their entire plan upside down so fast they wouldn't have time to breathe. And as the clock ticked closer to the toast, I stood in the corner, watching, waiting. Because if they wanted a Christmas show, I was about to give them one they'd never forget. By the time evening settled in, the house looked like a Christmas postcard. But underneath the twinkling lights and sparkling garland, everything felt wired with tension. Maybe no one else noticed it, but I did, because when you know people are planning your humiliation, you can feel their excitement like static in the air. Every laugh felt sharper, every whisper felt pointed, every smile felt rehearsed. Guests filled the house, carrying trays of food, wrapped gifts, warm hugs, the kind of holiday cheer my family pretended to embody. My mother floated around the room in a red dress, greeting people with the kind of affection she never showed me privately. "Merry Christmas! Come in," she beamed. "Wait until you see what we have planned later." They all laughed, assuming she meant a game, a toast, something sweet and sentimental. If only they knew. My father paced around with a glass of eggnog, telling every unfamiliar face, "Tonight's going to be unforgettable." Oh, it would be. Just not for the reasons he thought. My siblings whispered to each other in corners, glancing at me like hungry cats waiting for someone to drop the turkey. I stayed quiet, calm, composed, because the real power move is silence, especially when the other side thinks they're in control. Around 7:45 p.m., my mother tapped her fork against a wine glass. "Everyone," she called, "let's begin the Christmas toast in 15 minutes. My stomach flipped, not with fear, but with adrenaline. I saw the binder being placed neatly beside my father's chair. Thick, red, embarrassment wrapped in cardstock, my future grave in their minds. My brother grinned at it like an executioner admiring his acts. My sister whispered, "She's gonna crumble." I walked past them and smiled. "We'll see." They blinked, confused. Because for the first time in years, the fear they were expecting wasn't there. And that scared them. The next 15 minutes were a blur of holiday lights, chatter, and fake warmth. But beneath it all, I could feel the moment coming closer, like a storm building above a quiet ocean. The clock hit 8 o'clock. Wine glasses clinked. Conversations softened. People gathered in a circle around the living room. My father stood first, clearing his throat with a dramatic flourish. He looked like he was about to announce a royal decree. "Before we begin," he said, "I'd like to say something special." "Here it comes." My sister nudged my brother, excitement lighting her features. My mum wiped a fake tear, preparing her concerned yet supportive face. My father lifted his glass. "Tonight is a night about celebration. Family. Love. Love." The irony nearly made me laugh. He continued, "And one member of this family needs a little extra guidance." A ripple moved through the guests. Some exchanged curious looks, some smiled politely. Some straightened, unsure where this was going. My father reached for the binder. My mother inhaled dramatically. My siblings leaned forward. My father opened his mouth to deliver the blow. "And that's why we..." "Actually," I said, stepping forward, "I have something to share first." The room stilled. My father froze mid-sentence. Binder halfway lifted. My siblings blinked like their brains had skipped a beat. My mother's smile flickered, then cracked. "Honey," she hissed quietly, "this isn't the time." "It's exactly the time," I said, my voice calm, confident, loud enough for the room. I walked to the center of the circle, every eye on me. Before my family continues with what they've planned, I want to say something. A few guests chuckled warmly. "Oh, a surprise speech, but my family..." They were stiff, pale, uneasy, because this wasn't in the script they wrote for me. I turned to the crowd. "I want to tell you all what Christmas means in this house, because for some of us, it isn't happiness or love or warmth." My mother whispered, "Stop right now." I didn't. Christmas here means performance, image, pressure. It means smiling while being judged. It means pretending everything is fine while people who claim to love you are sharpening knives behind your back. A hush spread through the room. My father cleared his throat loudly. "This isn't necessary," I continued, "and tonight was supposed to be my humiliation." Gasps. My father dropped the binder on his lap. My sister's jaw fell open. My brother looked like he'd been unplugged. My mother went ghost white. "I heard everything," I said. "Last night, the plan, the binder, the jokes about how I'd cry, the excitement about teaching me responsibility, the decision to embarrass me in front of all of you." The guests looked horrified. Relatives shifted uncomfortably. A neighbor whispered, "Oh my God." My mother stammered. "Sweetheart, that is not true," I interrupted. word for word. She'll probably cry, and that might make it even funnier. A few guests gasped loudly. My sister's hand flew over her mouth. My brother stared at the floor. My father tried to recover. You misunderstood. This was supposed to help. Humiliation isn't help, I said. Mockery isn't guidance. And ambushing your own daughter in front of your entire family isn't love. My voice didn't shake. Their confidence did. Tonight, you were going to use my struggles as entertainment. The crowd turned to my parents, some judging, some horrified, some unable to even look at them. Oh, before you open that binder and try to expose me. I let the silence thicken. Then he exposed the truth instead. My mother whispered, "Please stop." I turned to my guests. This binder includes every bill I've been late on, every financial mistake I've made, every setback, every struggle. My father attempted a smug smile. See? She admits it. And what it doesn't include, I said, is why. The room leaned in. Guests waited. My family panicked because they had spent years controlling the narrative, and now I was about to destroy it. Before you judge me, I said, let me tell you the part they conveniently left out. And then I dropped the line that made the entire room freeze. The line that changed the entire night. The line that made my father stop breathing for a second. I've been secretly supporting this family for 3 years. The room erupted. My family broke. And the Christmas toast? It had just turned into a funeral for their lies. The room didn't just go silent, it collapsed. Conversations died, wine glasses froze mid-air, even the Christmas lights seemed to stop twinkling, like they refused to participate in what was about to happen. You... What? My sister croaked, her face draining of color faster than spilled milk. My father blinked like I'd spoken in a foreign language, and my mother clutched her pearls, a dramatic effect she usually reserved for funerals and tax season. You're lying, she hissed. You're trying to embarrass us. Oh, the irony. No, I said calmly. I'm telling the part you didn't put in your binder. A few guests shifted uncomfortably. My Aunt Linda whispered to her husband, "This is about to get messy." Messy was an understatement. We were seconds away from emotional wildfire. I turned back to the crowd. 3 years ago, when Dad lost his job, who covered the mortgage? My father clenched his jaw. That was a loan. A loan with no repayment plan, I corrected. Murmurs spread across the room like heat. 2 years ago, when my brother's car broke down, who paid for the repairs? You offered, he snapped. Because you said you couldn't afford the down payment on a new one, I replied. And then you bought a gaming PC 2 weeks later. Her cousin choked on her drink. My brother turned beet red. My brother turned beet red. Last year, I continued, who covered Mum's credit card bill when she maxed it out on emergency purchases? My mother stood straighter. I was buying household necessities. You bought a $900 0-cent air fryer, I counted, and a skincare fridge for the bathroom. A couple guests snorted. My mother glared daggers. Everyone needs self-care. I gave a shrug. Self-care isn't the issue. Charging it to a daughter you call irresponsible is. The room buzzed with disbelief. People began connecting dots I'd spent years ignoring. My father slammed his hand on the table. Don't twist this. We raised you. We've done everything for you. No, I said, my voice cutting through the air like ice. You raised my fear. You raised my anxiety. You raised a daughter who thought she had to earn love. My mother gasped. How dare you? But I wasn't done, not even close. While you were planning a funny intervention, I said, I was deciding if I should publicly reveal what I've actually paid for. I pulled out the stack of papers from my bag, documents, receipts, screenshots. Their faces turned the color of unbaked dough. What is that? My sister whispered. Facts, I said. Since you brought a binder, I brought one too. The guests leaned in, my parents leaned back, my siblings looked seconds from passing out. I held up the first page. This is the mortgage payment receipt from when Dad was 6 months behind. Gasps. I held up another. This is the bank statement showing I transferred $1,200, 0 cents to Mum for holiday groceries, which she used to buy herself a bracelet. My mother turned red. That is private. It stopped being private, I said, when you tried to publicize my life. Another ripple through the room. This, I continued, holding up the next page, is the loan agreement I made with my brother, signed by him when he swore he'd pay me back for the car repairs. People stared. This, I said, is the Venmo record of every time my sister asked me to spot her because she forgot her wallet, even though her Instagram showed her buying $14, 0 cents smoothies 20 minutes later. My sister muttered something, too quiet to catch. And this, I said finally, is the total amount I have given this family in the past 36 months. I displayed the final page. A collective breath sucked in. Total financial support provided, $46,382, 0 cents. My father stood abruptly. This is humiliating, he bellowed. Good, I said. Now you know how it feels. Gasps rippled again, this time sharper, louder, more emotional. My mother trembled, pointing at me with shaky fingers. How could you expose us like this? On Christmas, I raised an eyebrow. You planned to expose me on Christmas. I'm just giving you equal treatment. My sisters shoved forward. We were trying to help me. Help me, I repeated, by attacking me in front of the entire family. My brother growled, you always make yourself the victim. No, I said softly. I made myself the provider. Silence. Disbelief, judgment, finally directed at the right people. I looked around the room, making sure every face saw the truth. I'm not perfect. I have debts. I've made mistakes. But the difference is, I've never used any of you for entertainment. I've never mocked you behind your backs. I've never pretended humiliation was love. My father snapped. We were trying to motivate you. Motivation, I said, is supporting someone, not ambushing them. My mother's voice cracked. You misunderstood. No, I said sharply. I finally understood. Then I turned to the guests. And since we're telling the truth tonight, let me tell you the real reason they planned this little stunt. Every eye was on me, every breath held, every heartbeat loud. They weren't trying to teach me responsibility. I let the silence stretch. They were trying to hide theirs. My father roared, "Stop this!" But he couldn't stop what was coming next. The twist. The one that shook the entire room. This family isn't stable financially, I said. They're drowning, and they were planning to use tonight to pressure me into taking over all their bills. My mother screamed. That isn't true! I lifted one last piece of paper, my father's overdue mortgage notice. The room collectively gasped. My father staggered backward. My mother started crying. My siblings stared in horror. My father yelled, "Where did you get that?" Your desk drawer, I said. You left it open while rehearsing my humiliation. My mother completely broke. My father turned to stone. And suddenly, everyone understood. This wasn't about responsibility. This wasn't about guidance. This wasn't even about me. It was about money, control, desperation, self-preservation. I lowered the paper. So, if you're wondering why they planned to embarrass me tonight, it's because they were embarrassed first. The room exploded, gasps, whispers, disbelief. My family's faces collapsed like wet paper. Christmas ruined. Their plan finished. Their image shattered. And I wasn't done, not even close. I had one more twist. One that would turn their world inside out in front of everyone. For a full 10 seconds, the room was frozen. Not quiet, frozen. People weren't just silent, they were suspended between disbelief and shock, staring at me like I had walked into the living room and flipped gravity. My father stood stiff as a statue, jaw clenched so tightly you could practically hear enamel cracking. My mother was crying the way actors cry in courtroom dramas, messy, loud, but suspiciously performative. My siblings? They looked like they just watched their favorite TV show get cancelled mid-season. And the guests? Oh, the guests, wide-eyed, whispering behind their hands, some pretending to sip drinks they weren't actually drinking, some staring at my parents like they just learned a horrifying secret. And that's exactly what had happened. I hadn't humiliated them. I had revealed them. There's a difference. My father finally found his voice. You have no right to air our private business. Private, I said. You put my business in a binder to read out loud tonight. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. My mother wiped her tears dramatically. Sweetheart, you don't understand. We were just scared. Scared of what, I asked? That people would find out you needed help? Or that I wouldn't give it anymore? A ripple of whispers spread across the room. My sister stepped forward, shaking with anger. You're blowing everything out of proportion. We weren't going to harass you. We were just going to ask you for help. By publicly shaming me? I shot back. She huffed. Well, you don't listen when we talk to you normally. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, so you decided to hold a financial intervention during dessert? A cousin snorted. My brother snapped. You're ungrateful. We've done so much for you. That line hit something inside me. Hard, deep, sharp. Then name one thing, I said. One, just one. My brother's mouth opened, closed, opened, closed. Nothing came out but air. Exactly, I said. And yet I can list $46,000 worth of things I've done for you. My father shouted, it was a family effort. No, I replied calmly. It was a me effort. You spent. I covered. My mother sobbed again. Stop, please stop. Why? I said. Truth doesn't stop being truth because it's inconvenient. Then my father's face twisted. Anger, shame, fear, desperation, all wrestling for dominance. We are your family, he snapped. If we fall, you fall. I tilted my head. Interesting mindset. Is that why you planned to trap me tonight? Because you thought guilt would force me into saving you again? His lips trembled. He didn't deny it. He couldn't, because the truth had already demolished his defenses. Then a voice spoke from the back of the room. Calm, cold, surgical. Actually, she's not the only one you've drained. Every head turned. My Aunt Linda stepped forward, holding a folder, one I had never seen before. My mother whispered, no, Linda, don't. Linda ignored her. I didn't want to do this tonight, she said, but clearly this family has no issue airing matters publicly. She looked at me. Your father borrowed money from me 6 times in the last 2 years. Gasps, whispering. My father turned purple. Linda, he barked. That was between us. You never paid me back, she continued, voice steady. Not a cent. And you told me you needed the money because your daughter refused to help you. The room erupted. My siblings turned to him in shock. My mother looked like she'd stopped breathing. You lied about me? I asked. My father stuttered. I had no choice. You always have a choice, I said. You just choose the one that hurts the people who love you the most. Linda wasn't done. Your mother also asked me for money, she added. She said you were too selfish to support the family. My mother cried, Linda, please, no, Linda said firmly. You plan to embarrass your daughter in front of all of us. She deserves to know what you've been saying behind her back. My father became unglued. This is a satire, a manipulation, a consequence, I said softly. This is called consequence. The guests began murmuring, some angry, some sympathetic, some stunned, silent. My family's perfect Christmas image crumbled like stale gingerbread. Then I delivered the final blow. The one that didn't just shatter the plan, but shattered the illusion they'd been living in for years. All those times you said I was irresponsible, all those times you called me unstable, all those jokes about how I couldn't manage my own life. I lifted a small envelope. This is my bank statement. They frowned, confused. I opened it and read out loud, current balance $128,430, 0 cents. My sister's jaw dropped, my brother choked. My mother screamed, "What?" I continued, "And I pre-qualified for a home loan last week." More gasps. My father looked physically ill. But you said you were struggling." "No," I said. "You said that. You assumed that. You projected that. You wanted that." My family looked like they were watching their entire fantasy crumble. "The truth," I said, "is that I've been doing better than ever. I'm finally stable, finally confident, finally growing." Then I let the hammer drop. "And I didn't tell you because every time I succeed, you punish me for it." Silence. Horrified, deafening. "So tonight," I said, "you weren't planning to embarrass a struggling daughter." I looked at each of them, slowly, intentionally. "You were planning to embarrass a successful one." My mother sank to her knees. My father covered his face. My siblings stared at me like I was a stranger. And the guests, well, the guests now understood exactly who the problem had been all along. I took a deep breath. I love myself too much to stay where I'm disrespected. Then I delivered the line that ended the entire night. "This Christmas, I'm giving myself the gift you never did, freedom." I grabbed my coat, opened the door, and walked out into the cold December night, feeling warmer than I ever had inside that house. Their plan didn't humiliate me, it liberated me. And for the first time ever, the shame wasn't mine to carry. Walking out of that house felt surreal, like stepping out of a movie I didn't know I'd been starring in for years. The cold December air hit my face, sharp and clear, like it was trying to wake me up from a lifelong trance. For the first time, I wasn't the black sheep, the messy one, the comedic relief. I wasn't the family disappointment or the charity case. I was simply free. But freedom doesn't come without echoes. As I reached the driveway, voices erupted behind me. Not angry voices, panicked ones. My mother's cry cut through the night. "Wait, please!" I froze. Not because I wanted to, but because old habits are hard to kill. The habit of turning back. The habit of rescuing them from the messes they created. The habit of believing that maybe this time they'd be different. But this time I didn't turn around, not yet. I heard hurried footsteps crunching over snow. My sister, "You can't just leave," she shouted, breathless. "You embarrassed us." I took a slow breath. "No," I said without turning. "I revealed you." She scoffed. "Same thing. To people who lie," I replied. "Truth feels like humiliation." She hesitated. I could hear her confusion, like she was hearing logic for the first time. "Let's just talk," she said, weakly. "Inside. Away from everyone." "Oh, now you want privacy?" I asked. "After planning to humiliate me publicly?" A beat of silence. She had no answer. "Go back inside," I said calmly. "Enjoy the Christmas you planned." That's when my father stepped outside. His voice was low, trembling with frustration, and he didn't know where to aim. "Get back in this house," he ordered. "We're not done." I turned then, slowly, deliberately, and he froze. Because my face didn't show fear. It didn't show guilt. It didn't even show anger. It showed nothing, and that terrified him. "You've been not done for years," I said. And I kept coming back for more. "Not anymore." He clenched his fists. "Family doesn't walk away. Family doesn't corner their daughter with a binder of her failures," I replied. "Family doesn't gossip behind closed doors. Family doesn't weaponize love. Family doesn't use Christmas as a battlefield." My mother appeared behind him, mascara streaming down her cheeks, clutching her chest like she'd been betrayed by the world. "Honey," she cried, "you ruined Christmas." I exhaled slowly. "No, I ended the show. There's a difference." She shook her head in disbelief. "After everything we've done, what have you done?" Snapped, not loudly, but with precision. They didn't respond. They couldn't, because they knew the answer was nothing they wanted publicly acknowledged. Then something unexpected happened. My brother, silent up until now, stepped outside too, hands in pockets, face pale, eyes avoiding mine. "Mom, Dad, she's right," he muttered. I blinked. My parents whipped toward him like he'd betrayed them at the highest level. "What did you say?" my father barked. My brother swallowed nervously. "She's been helping us. And we treated her like garbage," my sister gasped. "Mark, don't." "No," he said firmly. "We messed up completely." The shock on his face told me the truth. He never expected himself to say those words. Maybe seeing everything exposed at once snapped something in him. Maybe the guilt had been rotting quietly for years. Maybe he finally realized that silence was enabling them. My father pointed at him. "You don't speak for this family." My brother shrugged. "Someone has to." And for the first time, I saw him, not as my parents' son, not as my sister's ally, but as a person. He looked at me, really looked. "I'm sorry," he whispered, "for everything." My throat tightened, not with weakness, but with release. "Thank you," I said, quietly. My sister, always defensive, always proud, opened her mouth, but no words came out. She just stood there, shaking, realizing the script she memorized no longer applied, that her performance had ended without applause. "You're leaving?" she asked, voice breaking. "Yes," I said simply. She nodded slowly. Then, "I guess, Merry Christmas." It wasn't an apology. It wasn't acceptance, but it wasn't hate. It was something. And I could live with that. My father stiffened, my mother sobbed. My siblings stood in a fragile middle ground. And I took a breath so deep it felt like the first real breath of my life. "Goodbye," I said. Not angry, not emotional, just final. They watched me walk away, stunned, broken, exposed. And something strange happened as I reached the end of the driveway. A few guests slipped outside quietly. Some walked over to hug me. Some whispered, "You didn't deserve that." Some said, "Good for you." Some simply nodded in solidarity, people who had lived through their own family cruelty and recognized the moment I chose myself. By the time I reached my car, I felt lighter, stronger, rebuilt. Not because they apologized, they didn't. Not because they changed, they might never, but because I finally realized something powerful. You don't have to keep setting yourself on fire to keep people warm, even if those people are your family. I started the engine. Christmas lights from the house reflected in my rearview mirror, shimmering like a life I was finally ready to leave behind. And as I drove away, I didn't feel guilt. I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel loss. I felt peace. The kind you can't buy. The kind you don't get handed in a binder. The kind you earn by choosing yourself, even when it hurts. That night, my family planned to humiliate me. I walked away with my dignity, my truth, and my freedom. And honestly, that was the best Christmas gift I ever received.